The long-awaited College Football 26 gameplay deep dive has officially dropped, and I'm here to break it down for you, just like I do with all other college football and Madden content. Some details I'm not gonna go into detail and break down because a lot, just like I mentioned in my Madden 26 gameplay deep dive video, Madden and college football are going to share a lot of the same features this year. So if you watched my Madden 26 video, a lot of that stuff that I mentioned is the same stuff that they're implementing in college football, but there are some things that separate college football from Madden. So I'm gonna go over some highlighted stuff. I may get to some of the things that college football and Madden will share, but I'm not gonna necessarily read the campus huddle notes. I'm going to just give a brief rundown on what to expect from that, just based off of what we already know from Madden 26 and their gameplay deep dive trailer. Real quick, before we get any further in the video, if you're here for the first time or you're returning and you haven't liked or subscribed already, please do so. Click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with more College Football 26 content, whether it be new drops, deep dives, tutorials, tips, tricks, etc. You name it, we'll have it. Without further ado, let's get into it. So they start off with talking about pregame. They say this year our gameplay model is what we call the 4-minute offense. Why? Because after putting points on the board last year, we wanted to come right back out, take control, and march down the field again and put the game away. That means staying true to the foundational vision, continuing to solve football problems with football solutions, and executing on what matters most. Similar to last year, our gameplay is built around 3 core pillars that keep the drive alive. All 22, play your way, stories of Saturday. All 22, continued emphasis on player control and player differentiation, with the plus speaking about everything that surrounds those 4 lines. Play your way, more customization and tools for players to make them feel like their favorite signal callers, while building on team differentiation, offering 136 plus ways to play. Stories of Saturday, we're adding more soul and personality between the whistles, building on the emotional foundation of 25 to make every moment feel like a memory in the making. They go on to talk about dynamic subs and no pausing, and this is one of those features that I said that I wasn't really going to read the notes. I was just going to give a brief little rundown because, again, I broke that down in the Madden 26 gameplay deep dive trailer, and it's going to be the same for both games. Instead of having to pause the game to make your substitutions, you're going to be able to do it on the fly during the game. And then what's going to happen is once you pull up that menu during the game, you sub a player. Once that play is completed, the very next play, that player will come in the game. So it's going to make it a lot easier and smoother for all users to be able to get substitutions in without having to stop the game to make those substitutions, etc., so on and so forth. So they also talk about smarter subbing with tailored filters. To streamline substitutions even further, we've introduced targeted filters that get the right players on the field quicker. Defense, manage your entire defensive unit at once, or quickly jump to specific groups like your linebackers or your defensive line. Offense, cycle between your full offense, skill players, or offensive line, ensuring you make exactly the right sub at exactly the right time. Reset to starters, want your best guys back out there immediately? Hit square on PlayStation or X on Xbox, and your starters are instantly back in the game. So that's a dope feature to make it easier for people to get their substitutions in, not having to specifically manually sub out one player at a time, but being able to sub out position groups or starters, backups, etc. It's been long overdue, and thankfully they've officially added it into the game. Now they start talking about more depth to wear and tear. They say, we were thrilled by your response to the wear and tear system last year. Introducing a completely new physics-based damage mechanic is always a bit nerve-wracking, but your enthusiasm showed we hit the mark. Wear and tear was never meant to be just another injury system. It was designed as a gameplay balance mechanic, bringing real strategic depth and meaningful roster decisions. The foundation was set, now we continue to build on it. They start talking about subbing your way. Another key improvement and something the community clearly asked for was making it easier and more strategic to manage players based on their wear and tear. We saw different coaching philosophies in how you played. Some of you keep your stars on the field no matter what, pain be damned. Others rotate constantly, prioritizing freshness and long-term durability. Both approaches are valid, and now the system fully supports how you want to coach. To accommodate these diverse styles, we introduced fully customizable wear and tear auto sub settings and sliders, bringing unprecedented depth to player management. Here's how deep the options go. They have default, which is standard CPU substitution logic, keep fresh, inspired by real-world rotation strategies like Michigan's frequent running back substitutions, grind it out, for teams that want to keep their best players on the field as long as possible. Players push through being banged up and only sub out when absolutely necessary. And then you have custom, players sub based on the lowest health of specific body parts, giving you precise control. Again, going more in depth on the possibilities of substitutions, not only just being able to substitute in game and not having to pause the game as much, and also the ability to sub out specific groups, key players, star players, backups, bench. But now you have a automatic sub option, which is like basically how when you're normally playing a game and players get tired, naturally the computer will bring those players out. Well, now you have a setting for it. You can set it to default, which is what I just spoke about, where the computer, once the players start get too tired, they'll bring them out. Or you have these other three different types, which is keep fresh, grind it out, custom. So again, another great aspect to add to the game, adding to gameplay, making it that much more better. They start talking about how pain is temporary, dynasties are forever. So dynasty players were some of the most passionate fans of the wear and tear system, and we recognize it's impossible to satisfy everyone's preferences with one size fits all tuning. So why not put the controls directly in your hands? This year, we've introduced complete customization of the wear and tear experience. Want increased damage from hit sticks or sacks? Prefer faster healing between quarters or during timeouts? Every aspect is now in your hands. So basically what they're speaking on in this, and it's all listed on here, but I also seen people speak on this during, I didn't mention this in my College Football 26 leaks video, but I did see leaks where they actually broke down this. They showed these options in the beta, where now every option about wear and tear is fully customizable. You can customize how much damage players take off of specific hits, whether it's hit stick, quarterback hits, etc. And if you want to put it all the way to 0, you could put it all the way to 0. If you want to put it all the way to 100, you could put it all the way to 100. And it's the same thing with recovery process. You can determine how much they recover after each quarter, how much they recover at halftime. If you want your players to recover a lot faster at halftime, you can set a setting on there to make sure that recovery process speeds up a lot quicker than it normally would. So this is a great feature to add. Wear and tear, I like wear and tear. A lot of people like wear and tear. Some people didn't like wear and tear, but it brings more realism to the game, having wear and tear in there. And I understand some people feel like, oh, it's just a game, it's just a game. Well, majority of those players, they're like regs and ultimate team players. But for the dynasty players, the sim players, they like the wear and tear because, again, it brings more realism to the game. This kind of satisfies both fields. You still get the wear and tear for the sim players, and the ultimate team players can adjust the wear and tear to their liking, unless they just hate wear and tear just that much and they just decide to turn it off and all. But nonetheless, this is a great feature and a great add and upgrade for this feature. They start talking about weathering the storm and winning the game through conversations with real world coaches and players. One reoccurring theme emerged clearly: weather significantly impacts player wear and tear. Reflecting this real world insight, we've integrated weather-based modifiers into the wear and tear system. I see this is something that they didn't mention in the Madden gameplay deep dive. So visualizing the damage. If your quarterback's health dips below 60%, you'll clearly see it reflected in his pre-snap demeanor. This is something we seen in the original trailer where the quarterback for Oregon State was kind of like, rotating his arm as if it was sore and bothering him. Now, once your quarterback starts to get any kind of ailment on his arm, on his leg, you'll see him start grabbing at his leg, or you'll see him start rotating his arm. That'll be him letting you know, like, hey, look, I'm starting to feel it. We might want to dial back how much I throw this ball, or we might want to dial back, how much I'm taking off running with the ball, and so on and so forth. More than just a rating, last year, your toughness rating determined how much damage a player took to a specific body part after contact. This year, we've taken that a step further. Now, toughness also affects recovery, dictating how quickly each body part heals over time. That means the same rating that helps a player absorb hits also plays a direct role in how fast they bounce back. It's a deeper, more realistic reflection of what toughness truly means in college football. That's one of those things that I always kind of felt like it was a meaningless rating, whether it be Madden or college football. I never saw the use of it. Maybe it did have an impact that I just didn't see, but I never saw the impact of a toughness rating. But now they put more emphasis on it, and you will see the impact of a toughness rating, because depending on that player's toughness will determine how well he bounces back from wear and tear effects. So that's a great add for the game as well. So now they introduced a new Heisman tier archetype. They got a lot of archetypes and everything like that, but there's a new Heisman tier, and it says archetypes have been expanded in College Football 26 with 10 brand new additions, each crafted to reflect the unique and electrifying skill sets seen every Saturday. These archetypes are intentionally diverse. No two share the same ability loadouts. You'll hear more about them in the upcoming Campus Huddle Dynasty Deep Dive. The out-of-body experience. One of our core objectives this year was capturing what we call the out-of-body experience. Those jaw-dropping moments when an elite player single-handedly changes the course of a game. To achieve this, we've completely redefined how abilities scale when a player gets hot. Momentum matters more than ever. When a player starts to cook, their physical abilities receive substantial boosts. If the player already holds a platinum tier ability, it automatically upgrades to the new Heisman tier, featuring enhanced effects and powerful new functionality directly inspired by player feedback. You'll know exactly when it happens. A green flash around a player's icon signals a tier up. Conversely, if a player's performance drops, you'll see a red downward arrow indicating they've dropped a tier. So that is intriguing right there. So I can't wait to actually see this for myself, actually playing the game. Like, I can see it through gameplay, through the trailer, however, but I want to actually get a feel for it myself to see exactly what that experience is like. I can only imagine that's gonna be OP right there. That's gonna be OP. So imagine your player starts getting hot. If you've been following my channel and you've been following my dynasty, I started to cook in like year 5 with Nadoma. That's the year that we finally won a Heisman with him. And there was no Heisman tier. I'll just put it to you like that. There was no Heisman tier. So one can only imagine what that experience would have been like if we'd have had that Heisman tier and he could have took it up another level and just really went crazy. So I can't wait to see this for myself. I'm excited about that addition as well. I'm not really going to speak much about the offensive and defensive abilities because I kind of broke that down in my last College Football 26 video, which is the one talking about the beta leaks. And I mentioned some of the abilities and explained what those abilities basically were in that one. So if you want to know those abilities, either click the link to the notes in my description box, or you can just check out my last video where I'm talking about the beta leaks. So now they talk about the cost of greatness, abilities, and wear and tear integration. It says this year we've also deepened the strategic connection between the ability system and the wear and tear mechanic. Every physical ability now categorized into either upper or lower body. As a player's wear and tear accumulates throughout the season, they can lose up to 2 tiers on the corresponding ability. That's interesting. While significant drops are rare, this introduces a crucial layer of strategic roster management, challenging coaches to balance aggressive play. Collectively, these improvements transform the ability system in College Football 26 into a deeper, more strategic, and thrilling gameplay experience. One that captures the unique skills, emotions, and drama that define elite college athletes. So then they start talking about like the 2,800 new plays, 45 plus new formations, greater playbook individuality. It says you'll immediately notice the difference between Air Force's flexbone DNA and USC's spread out vertical attack. These aren't just roster-based differences, they're true philosophical fingerprints. After months of deep dives and expert insight, every single one of our 136 playbooks has been handcrafted to reflect real-life play calling and personnel packages. From Miami's modern air raid to Iowa State's power spread, every team has a unique feel, and every user has a real jumping off point to build or customize their identity. They talk about fresh concepts, new motion types, things of that nature, double motion plays, expanded QB run and RPO variety, smarter option routes, gadget packages by formation, signature looks from the real 2024 season, You got Penn State's shotgun gate, Penn State's swinging gate variants, Ole Miss Wildcat do swing, Rice pistol wing back, Western Kentucky power eye Hulk, ECU trips off over weak, Duke wide Y off trip stack, and so on and so forth. Again, I'm not going to read all of the notes on each one of those individual things, but if you guys would like to, again, the link will be in the description box for you to click on and go read. Just like I said with the Madden 26 video, this is an overwhelming amount of information that they put out there. So if I were to sit up here and read over every single little thing, this video would be about 2-3 hours long, if not more, because this is a lot of information. So again, I'll post a link for you guys to check out for yourself, but that's just the gist of that aspect right there. They get to talking about precision, vision, strategy, and quarterback play. This is another thing that I'm not exactly gonna read everything on because I just spoke about this in Madden. And if anything, I'm not gonna glance over it. I'm just gonna explain what I explained in Madden because it's gonna be the same way for college football as well. So basically, now the quarterback's height plays a part in how he sees the field. So if you have a taller quarterback, then you're going to be able to see the whole field with no issues really at all. If you have a shorter quarterback, then he's going to be held back. So then his sight line isn't going to be as great as a taller QB. And if you're not throwing to a wide open receiver and say they're hitting an out route and you can't see over your line, then you're going to lose the icon. The icon of that receiver is going to disappear, making it harder for you to get the ball to that receiver. So if you don't know the icon and if you don't have it memorized pre-snap, you're not going to be able to throw the ball to him because you don't know what button it is and you don't want to press the wrong button. So basically that's what the whole field vision thing is and what they've done with the quarterback's eyesight and the whole stature playing a part in how the quarterback sees the field. So now they start talking about recognizing the heat. They say last year we saw a heavy reliance on double mug and cover zero blitzes to overwhelm AI quarterbacks, making this a critical area for improvement. In college football 26, we've introduced an upgraded hot read system and made significant enhancements to quarterback progression logic, double move recognition, and overall blitz response. Quarterbacks with higher awareness now identify multiple hot read options immediately after the snap, mirroring how elite quarterbacks diagnose and counter aggressive pressure in real life. These upgrades reduce the once dominant effectiveness of double A gap blitzes and create more balanced strategic gameplay. So basically all that mid blitzing the computer to death, that thing allegedly is a thing of the past. Again, they've talked about things like this in prior years of Madden. I'm not going to say prior years of college football because college football has been gone for a while and just came back. But they've talked about this for years in Madden, making the AI logic a lot better so the computer can pick up on things like that and stop it. But they haven't done the best job of correcting that and implementing a system to stop people from cheesing, basically. So now, supposedly, they have something in place so that you can limit that or stop that, and the computer is smarter at detecting you using the same things over and over again. So we shall see. We shall see. And they talking about defense wins championships. They say last year's gameplay was explosive and wide open, just the way college football should feel. That freedom and responsiveness on offense is something we're committed to maintaining. The features above focus largely on enhancing the offensive experience, speed, creativity, and big plays. But you also told us defense needed more depth, presence, and options. So this year we've doubled down on the defensive control and responsiveness, giving you more tools to disrupt and dictate the game. Championships are won in the trenches. So let's take a closer look at what's new on the other side of the ball. So that's when they start going in depth talking about physics-based tackling, which again is something, even though they didn't specifically emphasize physics-based tackling in the Madden gameplay deep dive, they did talk about how they expanded on it. But college football never had the physics-based tackling, not the new boom tech that Madden has. Well, they basically implemented that in here. So for those that don't know, the physics-based tackling is simply a system where the outcome of a tackle or a hit is all dictated by both players' size and speed. All of that plays a part. If you have a bigger player on defense and a smaller player on offense and you go in and you hit stick him, you're probably gonna light him up. If you have a bigger running back on offense and a smaller DB and you try to hit stick that bigger running back, chances are that DB is going to bounce off and that running back's going to stumble for a second. He's going to gather himself, so on and so forth. And it's going to look more realistic than just straight animation based tackling. So it's going to look more clunky, a little bit more clunky and things of that nature, but it's all based on the height and weight of these players on the field and what type of tackling mechanic you decide you want to choose. Again, if you want to come in there with a smaller DB and try to light up this big tight end, chances are he's going to bounce off of him, but it's going to look realistic in the process. So that's basically what the physics-based tackling is. It's going off the physics of the size of the players on the field, the speed ratings and all of that, and it's going to determine an outcome based off of that. They also talk about the new tackle types, which is wrap catch tackles, in-range lunge content, unprepped hit sticks, and so on and so forth. And again, they summarize those, but that's something, if you want to go in depth about what each one of those mean, you can just go read the notes for yourself. Trying to make this video as short as possible because this is, again, a lot of information that they've unveiled here today. So they said skill mechanics enhancements, timing and aiming on all one-on-one tackle types. It says the timing and aiming mechanics from last year's hit stick tackles have been expanded to every one-on-one tackle scenario, including strips, cuts, lunges, wraps, swat catch tackles, and wrap catch tackles. By putting control directly into your hands, your skill as a player can significantly influence broken tackle outcomes, knockouts, strips, and forced fumbles. Here they're talking about truck and stiff arm skill mechanics. Offensively, we've integrated similar timing and aiming mechanics into trucking and stiff arm moves. Ball carriers can now control their moves to increase the success rate of trucks and precisely time stiff arms to fend off defenders effectively. Core tackling improvements. This year's core tackling improvements go beyond just adding new animations. They're about capturing the emotional core of college football. Whether it's a critical third down stop, a game-altering sack, or a tone-setting hit early in the game, these improvements are designed to increase the chaos, energy, and momentum swings you see every Saturday. And then they start to go on talking about other aspects of hits and tackles. Hit stick catch tackles. We've seamlessly integrated hit stick tackles into our physics-based tackling system, enhancing the realism and responsiveness of big hit moments. Quarterback hit improvements. Significant improvements have been made to preserve realistic arm positioning during sack transitions. We've minimized unnatural snapping of the quarterback's arm into place during sacks, resulting in smoother and more believable quarterback reactions. Then they talk about late hit throws. We also heard you loud and clear when it came to the last second bailouts in the pocket. Those frustrating moments when quarterbacks could escape sacks with unrealistic throws just before being hit. Ensuring throws are more realistically aimed near receivers, increasing both catch opportunities and interception risk. Additionally, very late throw attempts with defenders closing in will more frequently result in sacks, rewarding good pass rushes and emphasizing realistic consequences for delayed QB decisions. They have more discussions and topics on tackling. Again, if you want to look at all that, I know it's like a broken record, but just click that link in the description box and you'll get all the information you want to know. They start talking about stunts and twists. We talked about that in the Madden deep dive. Stunts and twists are now in the game. You'll have a preset menu depending on the formation that you pick on what you can do, what kind of stunts you can do with each of these players. And there'll be different options, and it will depend on whether you have 4 men down, 3 men down, 2 men down. If you have 2 and 3 men down, there will be certain instances where you won't have any stunts available to you. But more than likely, if you have 4 men down, you'll have multiple options for stunts that you can perform with your defensive linemen. They start talking about things like smarter blocking mechanics. They say this year's blocking logic has been re-engineered from the ground up, and that includes both run and pass protection. Improved targeting system. We've improved our targeting system across all core blocking schemes. That means blockers now understand who they're supposed to hit and how they're supposed to hit them, based on the structure of the play. Schemes that now block with drastically improved clarity and accuracy include power, counter, trap, wham, duo, all veer variants, midline concepts. So they talk about impact blocks and collision wins. The core engagement system has also been overhauled to better reflect outcomes based on weight class, ratings, and momentum differential. And there we go, talking about the whole physics of size, weight, and ratings yet again. It says pass protection, read, slide, react. We've focused heavily on giving users more clarity, control, and responsiveness in the pass protection phase. Highlights include smarter targeting selection, untargeting defenders, simplified slide protection, and playmaker flip for protection. What it all means, the trenches in college football 26 aren't just cosmetic, they're gameplay altering. Every offensive scheme starts with how your line functions. Every defensive strategy depends on how your front holds up. And now with block steering, smarter protection logic, and authentic scheme targeting, you can win the game up front just like in real college football. Then they start going on talking about custom zones, route committing. All of this, again, are things that I've already spoken on literally in my video that I just posted from the Madden 26 gameplay deep dive, which now the custom zones and things of that nature, that's basically where you can customize or stem the zones of your DBs on the field to counteract the custom stems your opponent performs with his receivers on the offensive side of the ball. And route committing is when your opponent is doing the same thing over and over against you. He's running all corner routes, he's running all go routes, drags, whatever it may be. And you get used to it throughout the game to the point where now you can have your DB route commit to that specific route, but it will come with a price. If you decide to route commit to that corner route or to that post route and they hot route to a different route, then that DB is going to completely commit to that specific route. When he doesn't run that post and he instead runs a go, he'll be running wide open to the house. So you have to be careful with route commit, but it's a great feature to add to the game to help people with players that like to run the same thing over and over again or the same concepts over and over again. They start talking about the leverage aspect of the game, which if you watched my Madden video, you know what the leverage is. Leveraging has more of an impact now. So if you like leverage your DB to the outside, if your opponent decides he wants that wide receiver to run an out route, he's not going to be able to win that route. And if he does win that route, he will have very minimal separation, very minimal. But if you leverage that DB to the outside and your opponent sends that wide receiver to the inside, then that it's going to be vice versa. The wide receiver is going to be wide open and so on and so forth. It's very similar to like route committing and everything like that, except for we're talking leverage now. So when you press, majority of the time when you press, that DB is going to try to shift the receiver to a specific section depending on where you shaded the DB. If they try to run to the outside or inside, they won't be able to win or they'll have minimal coverage. But if they go the opposite direction, they'll have a greater chance of success receiving the ball. Then they start talking about the no eyes, no picks aspect. And real quick, before I do read into this, to the person that was in the comments saying that they never said anything about this in college football. They talked about this for Madden. And I kept saying over and over again that the first set of notes they released, they were specifically talking about this for college football. Here you go. This is directly dedicated towards you. It says no eyes, no picks. Last year, some of the full speed contested over-the-shoulder interceptions felt a little too much, like defenders were turning into center fielders. I started calling them the Willie Mays interceptions. This year, we improved that. When a DB doesn't have eyes on the ball, I repeat, when a DB doesn't have eyes on the ball, he won't make those unrealistic blind leaps anymore. No more backward acrobatic picks without vision. Instead, defenders react late, fighting through the receiver's hands, trying to knock the ball loose rather than warping into perfect catch animations. It's all about context now. When a DB is in trail position, hips turned and running at full speed, you should feel more inclined to take a shot deep. You no longer have to wait until your receiver is 3 steps clear from breaking the jam. The game now rewards smart, confident throws that recognize defensive leverage. But when a DB does track the ball properly, you'll see that rewarded. Interceptions feel earned, not gifted. It's a fair fight, an aspect we are always seeking to improve. Then they say swat or pick, choose wisely. Swatting the ball returns prominence this year. Now you must decide, go for the highlight reel interception or make the fundamentally sound play and swat. Swats take defenders to the highest point, giving you a better chance to disrupt catches in tight windows. Picks are still possible, but only if you're in phase looking at the quarterback and perfectly positioned. Defensive decision making just became more critical. Quarterbacks will find jump balls or true 50-50 throws again, not automatic turnovers. So then they start talking about defensive playbooks and some of the new formations they added, like 3-4 tight, 3-3-5 flex, nickel single mug, and nickel 2-4 single mug. nickel load and nickel 2-4 load. And then they start talking about like some returning formations in nickel 2-4, nickel 2-4 double mug, dime load weak, and so on and so forth. So as far as defensive plays are concerned, they have a bunch of new plays in there. Some of the ones they have listed are nickel 2-4 load mug, linebacker DE twist 3, then 2-4 single mug, DB blitz text 3, 2-4 single mug, DT Mike loop 3, 2-4 load, one linebacker cross games, single mug, DB blitz text 3, single mug, DT Mike loop 3, load mug, linebacker DE twist 3, load 0 linebacker cross games, load linebacker 3 seam games, load 1 double wide receiver 1, load 1 linebacker cross games, dime rush mug blitz text 3, dime rush mug sim pressure, dime rush mug DT loop 1, 3-3-5 overflex cornerback bench blitz, nickel 2-4 load linebacker 3 seam games, and nickel 2-4 load 0 linebacker cross games. So quite a few new defensive plays added into the game there. They start talking about coaching adjustments, and here when they talking about coaching adjustments, they're talking about the safety adjustments and the depth, which is also another thing that I spoke about in the Madden video, because like I mentioned before in that video, a lot of things will be, a lot of these same features will be shared between both these games. So they already spoke about this for Madden, and they're speaking about it again for college football. So now you can set the depth of your safeties. You can set how wide they play, how far, how deep they play, and so on and so forth. And all of this is going to be accessible in the coaching adjustments menu. New RPO coaching adjustment, control the rules. Take this a step further. College Football 26 introduces a new RPO specific coaching adjustment, allowing you to fine-tune how your AI defenders handle zone, read, peek, and traditional RPO concepts. Want your overhangs to be more aggressive against the run, even if it means giving up a quick slant? You can dial that up. Prefer they sit back and protect against the pass first? That's an option too. It's about giving you the same philosophical control real coaches have on Saturdays and trusting you to use it. Moving on to more defensive strategy, they say show blitz linebackers only. In the past, choosing to show blitz meant your entire defense came crowding the line. Safeties, corners, everyone. It looked aggressive, sure, but it also gave everything away. Not anymore. In College Football 26, you can now show blitz with just your linebackers, giving you far more control over how your defense looks pre-snap. Want to threaten pressure without committing your safeties? Want to crowd the box to bait a check or force a protection slide? Now you can. Then they go on to things like home field advantage, it being louder and tougher in specific games, night games, primetime games, you name it. It's the same energy, but more of that energy. It goes more in depth. And I'm not going to go in depth about the home field advantage. You pretty much got an idea of that through the gameplay deep dive trailer itself. But if you want to know more details, you know where to find it. But that is going to be the aspect that ends up closing out this video. Again, if you want to know more details about home field advantage and stadium posts and the impact it has on the game in 26, feel free to check out these notes. The link will be in the description box, along with everything else. Again, if I went through every single note, this video will probably be about 3 hours long. Just like that Madden one, they unveiled a ton of information. I mean, a ton. I'm leaving out a lot. I just wanted to highlight certain specific things, and some things I brought up, but I briefly spoke on because I just spoke on them in the Madden video. So y'all let me know y'all's thoughts and feedback in the comment section. Let me know how y'all feel. Was this satisfying? Were you looking for more? Again, this is just the first deep dive. There's going to be more deep dives. There's going to be a deep dive on Dynasty. There's going to be a deep dive on Ultimate Team, and so on and so forth. So again, y'all let me know y'all thoughts and feedback in the comment section. As always, if you're here for the first time or you're returning and you haven't liked or subscribed already, please do so. Click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with more College Football 26 deep dive information, tips, tricks, leaks, team builder, etc. We'll have it here. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. That's been my time. Till next time. Peace.